Hello and welcome back to goldstocktrades.com. Today we have back here with us Steve DeYoung. Steve is CEO of Integra Gold. Integra can be traded as ICG on the TSX Venture. Thanks, Steve, for being back here with us today.
Thanks for having me, Jeb.
See, Steve, you've had a very busy month of June. It's been a busy month for the junior miners. We saw an increase in volume, and we saw a big interest in Integra Gold, where you were able to close over a $10 million financing. Can you talk to us about what is driving this investor demand in Integra Gold?
I think there's two things. I think one of the at an asset level, we've had a lot of success just in having a high-grade asset in a safe jurisdiction, along with a low capex, because those three things combined you don't see too often. And everything that's happened in the gold space and the resource space over the last few years, obviously there's been people are coming back to grades, back to safe jurisdictions, and then at the same time, any sort of large financing required to bring a project into production just creates one more set of risks associated with that company. On the other side, people really like to see companies that are moving, and we've taken the approach we're not going to sit and just wait for the price of gold to come back. We have a project that we feel makes sense at these levels, and we're going to do everything we can to push that project forward, to be aggressive, to be a very active exploration company. Because as an investor, we're not asking people to invest in us and then just cross their fingers the price of gold will come up, and that's not our value creation strategy.
Steve, I always mention to my readers the importance of the shareholders and seeing strong shareholder support and insider holdings. Could you talk a little bit more about some of the key shareholders in Integra Gold?
We've had a number of really good supporters, have supported the company for the last few years. We have one large supporter, a Vancouver-based individual who's supported for longer than actually I've been here, for the last 8 years, who continues to support because these investors are very happy with the way things are going with the company and what we've been able to accomplish despite a difficult market for the junior space and for the resource industry. To have these investors continue to step up and to couple that with our ongoing marketing strategy of always bringing in new investors is where we were able to realize so much interest in the financing, and it's very encouraging for us, obviously, to see. If you look at Integra for the last 2 years, we've raised about $20 million at lower prices than where we're at today. So in a declining market, we've been able to build and still create value and build our share price and push forward in a company despite difficult times.
Steve, you announced a PEA back in I think in March. Could you talk to us about some of those highlights that may have attracted some more investor interest?
One of the biggest surprises that from the feedback we got on our PEA was the ounces per year. Because these type of deposits that you see in the Val-d'Or camp, these narrow vein underground deposits, you'll often see at, say, 30 to 60,000 ounces per year, which can be very profitable, but might not be big enough to, say, attract the attention of some bigger producers to essentially move the needle of their production profile. We came out at 112,000 ounce per year producer, and a big reason for that is not because we've discovered some new way to go after these narrow vein deposits. It's because our gold is contained within different deposits within about a 2 kilometer wide area. So we're able to go after multiple zones at once. Having that 112,000 ounce per year production profile with a low capex, and we had an all-in cost of $805 Canadian an ounce, which is obviously, even at these prices, is a very attractive cash cost all-in sustaining cost for a producer. To have all that put together, very close to infrastructure, is really what made our PEA stand out for investors.
Steve, take us through the current drilling program in April and May. You announced some really exciting results, specifically from this triangle zone. Talk to us about what you're seeing, what the geologists are seeing out there, and where this is leading to the rest of 2014.
We've focused our drilling on two zones, the parallel and the triangle. And at the end of 2013, we had finished a 12,000 meter at the parallel. And in the first 3.5 months, it turned into about 4 months of 2014, we did 25,000 meters of drilling at the triangle. So the most recent results that we put out are from the triangle zone. That's where you've seen some of those really nice numbers. We saw 100 grams over 2 meters. We saw some wider intersections. We had 15 grams over 11 meters. The results, and that are actually still coming out today, there's about 30 drill holes still pending from the triangle zone, are coming from right from surface down to about 600 meters. What we're seeing in the results now is that the system or the resource model that we built at the triangle zone is very consistent with what we're seeing in the results. And that we've gone out, we've built this model, we've mapped the veins, we've built a resource estimate around, and then we've gone back and drilled, and those veins and that mineralization is appearing right where we predicted it would be. It's very encouraging because you're going to build your mine plan off this to know that you have a reliable geological model. The other thing we're seeing is that this triangle zone, we've really focused our drilling from surface to 600 meters. We have put 2 holes down to 1,000 meters, and we've hit mineralization from 600 meters right down to 1,000 meters as well. It's encouraging for us because we're sitting right next door to a mine that produced down to 2,000 meters. We know there's a lot of upside, exploration upside below, but we're really focused on the near-term resources and what we would see working into, say, the first 5 years of a mine plan.
Steve, talk to us about, you mentioned about nearby mines. Talk to us about the location that you're at and the geological footprint that's there.
Our project it's called the Lamaque project because historically it was part of Teck Kaminko's Lamaque mine and their Lamaque project. In 1933, Teck built the Lamaque mine. Essentially, the town of Val-d'Or, the city of Val-d'Or that we're sitting just outside, was built around this mine. 5 years later, the Sigma mine was put into production, and between those two mines, over 50 years, produced 9 million ounces of gold. We're sitting within a few kilometers. Our border actually goes within a few hundred meters of the Sigma and Lamaque mine, so there's 9 million ounces of production. We're the same geological setting. These are intrusive hosted. The mineralization is hosted within, they're called intrusive plugs, and they're, say, 200 to 300 meter wide cylinders with veins occurring within them. We have this perfect analog right next door that for 50 years was very successfully mined. So we use that Sigma Lamaque model to guide our own exploration, and as we build our plans and as we look at various mining methods and different ways to extract the mineralization or the gold from these deposits, we have this perfect example right next door of how it should be done.
Steve, can you talk to us about some of the majors that are in that Val-d'Or area that are currently producing?
One of the most exciting ones, one of the most exciting deals in the space this year was the Goldcorp, and then the Yamana bid for a Cisco, and then back to Goldcorp, and then it ended up being Yamana and Agnico Eagle partnered together. That's just the next town over, so that's about 50 kilometers. It's along the same belt. Agnico Eagle and Yamana now have control of that deposit, that mine. Agnico Eagle is producing at the Goldex mine. It's about 8 kilometers away from us. On the same belt, you have IM Gold. And north of, if you use Val-d'Or as a jumping point, but going north, you're up to Goldcorp's Alinar project, and then further north, some of Agnico's more northern projects as well. So you're seeing a lot of majors very active in this area.
I noticed one of the news releases is that you were able to receive a resource tax rebate. Can you talk to us about the Quebec jurisdiction? And I've heard that that things are getting better there, like they once were?
Quebec is a great place to explore. One of the advantages we have, depending on where you are in Quebec, you'll get a rebate on the exploration dollars you spend. I believe the maximum is 45% when you get further and further north. For us, we receive a 32% rebate on the funds we spend on exploration. So I think mid-September, we had about $600,000 come back. So if we go spend $1 million on exploration, about a year, 12 to 18 months behind that, we'll get a rebate for 32% of that. We're already in a district that has some of the cheapest exploration costs. Our drilling company is based only 5 kilometers away from our actual project, so we have very low-cost drilling, very low-cost exploration. On top of that, we'll go spend $1 million and then get that $320,000 rebate back as well.
So, Steve, take us through. You just raised this money, 10 plus million. You announced a PEA earlier this year. You have a lot of drill results. Talk to us how you see things going. What are some of the milestones down the road for Integra?
The PEA was based off a resource estimate that we drew the line in the sand or cut off the data and the drill results for that resource estimate in April 2013. So all the drilling that's been done in the last 14 months hasn't been incorporated into an updated resource estimate. So for this year, the next big milestones for us is we're going to update that resource estimate. We're just about done the parallel zone, and as these last results come in for triangle, we'll start that. We're looking probably towards September, October for that updated resource estimate. That's a major catalyst for us. We're going to be continually drilling as we go. We're just starting a drill rig. One's on the Forestel zone, and the other one's going to be doing some condemnation drilling. That's the area to the east of the triangle zone. We're drilling we're drilling the land where the ramp would go, just to ensure there's no mineralization there and whatnot. That same drill, when it finishes the program, is going to go and start testing some exploration targets that we have along strike of these deposits that have never been tested before. The drilling for the last 2 years has very much focused on proving up resources, expanding almost 50%, expanding on known deposits, 50% infill drilling of those deposits. This drill program we're going to start more towards the end of July will be the first time we've gone after fresh exploration targets, looking for brand new deposits or mineralized zones. Will be a lot of minimum of 2 drills going, at least for the balance of the year. A lot of news flow. As I mentioned before, we have just over 30 drill holes, assays from just over 30 drill holes still pending. So a lot of news flow from that. And then a number of other studies that we'll be doing. We're going to update our PEA. We're looking towards pre-feasibility at the end of this year, say the end of this year, beginning of next year. As soon as we have our resource estimate in hand, we'll have a much better idea for timing on that and whatnot as well. In the meantime, as we go along this path of exploration, proving up our resources, working towards an updated PEA and pre-feasibility, we're also very actively looking at other opportunities. There's a number of mills in the area, which would be a great fit for our project. So we're going through and just assessing the various mills, what might work for us. A number of these mills are in receivership or have been shut down due to lack of grade or various other reasons. So we're not only with our own project, we're actively looking at other opportunities as well.
Steve DeYoung, CEO of Integra Gold, which can be traded as ICG on the TSX Venture. Thanks for giving us an update on Integra Gold today.
Thank you, Jeb. Always a pleasure.